One of the most glorious sights in all of sport, the jewel in the motorsport crown. This is the Monaco Grand Prix, and the streets of Monte Carlo are our stage as the European leg of the F1 season gets underway. Welcome to your weekend warm-up from one of the most stunning backdrops you will see all season long. It beggars belief that F1 machinery can hurtle between these walls. Qualifying coming up on Saturday is one of the most scintillating and significant sessions of the entire season. Now, Kimi Antonelli comes into this weekend with a 43-point lead over George Russell. So how did we get here? Let's take a look back at a crazy Canadian Grand Prix.
Welcome back to Formula One. The excitement is high. The Mercedes 1-2.
The McLarens are opting for intermediate tyres.
And the Canadian Grand Prix is underway. Lando Norris with the chance, gets the launch. Lando Norris to the lead of the Grand Prix. The Mercedes did not get the launch off the line.
Just excuse me, wrong if I do, wrong if I don't.
Lando Norris has been called to the pit lane. McLaren gambled and it came undone. Game on between the Silver Arrows. George Russell goes through. Antonelli nearly into the back of his teammate.
I could beat the pressure.
Oh!
Absolute disaster for McLaren.
Antonelli's going to have a chance into turn one. Dives to the inside.
Super fighting. Antonelli senses he's got George exactly where he wants him, and Russell, he needs this win.
Kimi Antonelli finally gets by, and it's a change of lead.
Back on my business.
It's Russell with the inside line. Are they going to make contact? Antonelli has to bail out. This is delirious racing.
We'll have to give that place back.
Why, mate? You pushed me off. This one is not done yet.
Excuse me.
Russell is coming to a halt. George Russell is retiring from the race lead. And it's heartbreak. It's fury. And it's the end of the road for George Russell. Game on for second place. These two are reunited in battle once again.
We can do this, guys.
Hamilton with a great chance to go up to second position. Listen to that. Kimi Antonelli wins the Canadian Grand Prix.
Nice work, Kimi.
Kimi Antonelli in a league of his own.
What an extraordinary Grand Prix we saw in Montreal. All the drama, all the controversy, one of the greatest teammate battles that we have seen. I don't know for how long, guys, but it was absolutely thrilling, and we're expecting more of the same here in Monaco. Ruth Buscombe, Juan, Pablo, Montoya and Jolyon join me in the Principality. Ruth, there's nothing quite like Monaco, is there?
No, it's truly incredibly special. Some drivers grow up wanting to drive here. I was an engineer that grew up wanting to be here, and it's one of those few places that is better than you could ever imagine it. Working here, the atmosphere, absolutely spectacular, and I love the racing here.
We'll come to it, Juan Pablo, but go on, what does it take? What is it like to win here?
It is very special. It is crazy because, you know, I grew up being a Senna fan, so if you're a Senna fan, the onboard of Senna qualifying here in the early 90s, late 80s, it is insane. And, you know, I was just a kid watching that, and to be able to come here and do it is like, this is a funny story. This is the only place where I actually screamed on the radio, and well, by mistake, because I went like, hey, well done, gals, and I thought I switched off the radio and started screaming, and the radio was still on.
Oh, I love that. We'll find that in the archives somewhere. You can hear the Porsche in the background racing around these streets. Jolyon, how difficult is it to race Monaco?
Oh, it's incredibly difficult. It's almost unchanged from the days that Juan was driving, from the days that Senna was driving, and before that as well. There's been subtle tweaks, but it's a crazy circuit. It's super narrow. There's some undulation in there as well. It's bonkers. And trying to describe the challenge of Monaco, just like, this is the easiest circuit in the world to crash on. The easiest circuit that I ever drove. It's so narrow. There's not a lot of grip. These are regular streets. Obviously to race, overtaking is difficult, famously so, but to just drive and get lap time out of this place, if you get it right, it is the most special feeling, I think.
And what a backdrop that is for this Mercedes intra-team battle that we are seeing. 43 points the deficit for George Russell. If he was to overturn that, it would be one of the greatest comebacks in the sport's history, unless Max had done it last year, but he was just a few points shy, wasn't he? How does Kimi Antonelli approach this weekend on a circuit which bites back so quickly?
Yeah, it's an interesting one because he was so attacking in Canada. He was obviously sublime in Miami and dealt with the pressure of Lando at the end. But in Canada, I loved that he was just attacking the whole way through, throwing caution to the wind, bouncing through the grass when he had to, just to pile on the pressure. You cannot do that around this circuit. So I'm interested to see if he's going to approach FP1 at the start of the weekend with the same vigor, because if he does, I think he'll end up in the wall. I think he has to rein it back a little bit.
I think you can push that hard. You just gotta make sure you time it well. Some of the places that is really difficult, like top of the hill, like going over the crest wide open to still make the casino, it's challenging, but once you get to do it, it's fine. But the position he's in, he's gonna keep attacking. And I think when you're in that little bubble, mistakes don't come.
But the interesting parallel for me here is actually Max. When Max Verstappen rocked up here in a Red Bull, he had a tricky time initially in Monaco. Daniel Ricciardo was the king around here, had a nearly race win, then a race win. And Max had a couple of incidents where he was really quick fighting with Danny Rick, crashed it in FP3 fighting for that last 100th or two, didn't even qualify the car in 2018. Youthful exuberance is brilliant until it's not, and that'll be really the fascinating thing for me, seeing how Kimi approaches it.
And Ruth, how do Mercedes manage this? They've got history of managing two drivers, haven't they? Nico Rosberg and Lewis Hamilton. Now they've got another intra-team battle. How do they balance not over-engineering things, as McLaren were accused of at times last season, but equally not costing the team points and a lot of money in crashes?
I think they've got two big problems. One, Monaco doesn't care about your championship standings. It never reads them. What makes you fast in all the tracks you've come here on the straights, that's been Mercedes' dominant factor, doesn't matter here. So there's no guarantee they have the fastest car. They might have the fourth fastest car. So maximizing team points is really going to be a key element. And then between the teammates, well, unfortunately, this place has also got quite a lot of history of teammate rivalries somewhat exploding. You look at 2006, which was the confirmed one with Schumacher. They're going to have to play it by the book. I wouldn't want to be the Mercedes in qualifying that goes second if I've got my teammate on provisional pole round here. So I would like to have a nice, clean lap and set my lap first.
Well, Jolyon, how do we think Mercedes will fare around here? Because it is not exactly a track which is going to rely on the PU, is it? Just explain this.
Well, I mean, it's super twisty, and Mercedes have got the best car in terms of the straight line speed, the outright power, but also energy deployment. We're not going to be talking about energy deployment this weekend. This is a circuit, as it always has, of maximum downforce, maximum cornering speeds with not really any regard for straight line speed. So it takes away Mercedes' great strength so far this year. And there's generally a feeling that this is a really, really open race, particularly with Ferrari entering the mix. Ferrari are a team that don't have the straight line speed so far of their Mercedes-powered rivals. You don't need it here. So the other interesting thing is, I was looking through the archives, Mercedes, they've not been on the front row here since 2019. And they've only been on the front row once. Only in 2019 were they on the front row in the last decade. So even regardless of that, they've not been great around this place historically.
You've teed us up so nicely to move to a team who may well have their best shot of a win this season. That is Ferrari. Let's hear it from their two drivers.
An incredibly strong Montreal race from you. You come to Monaco with a lot of people tipping you and Ferrari as favourites. Do you believe the hype? Is this an excellent opportunity for you and the team?
I'm not listening to any of the hype. I'm just trying to, we're learning from, take the learnings from each weekend and try to move forwards. I think that's really what we're focused on this weekend.
I love the team. I think that's pretty obvious from the outside. It's been 8 years with the Formula One team, 10 years with Ferrari as a whole. They've been one of the first people to believe in me and to help me to get to where I am today. And I believe in the project most of all. I think with Fred we have a very, very good relationship, and I strongly believe that he's the person that will be able to bring Ferrari back to the top. It's been a good start of the season, obviously not as good as what we will want because we want to target the World Championship, but there's been a lot of innovation on the car, and I think in terms of, we know where we are lacking, and that's probably more the engine side. We've got a plan coming up, and hopefully it will help us to get back to where we want to be. If there's one track I will bet on us, it's probably Monaco. However, I still believe that Mercedes have had a significant advantage since the beginning of the year. So I think they will be very, very strong. I think McLaren will be very strong as well. I think Red Bull will be very strong. But it's true that on the other tracks so far, we've been struggling quite a bit in the straights, which here it should be less of a problem. And we have a strong package chassis-wise and aero-wise. So I think it could help us. But Mercedes, I think, will still remain the team to beat.
And the breaking news this week is that Charles Leclerc has extended his time at Ferrari. He has re-signed a multi-year deal to stay with the team. Lewis Hamilton came off Montreal, which was one of his best weekends in Ferrari colours. For Charles Leclerc, it was his worst. So, you're Charles Leclerc coming into a home race, one that you won in 2024, off the back of your worst weekend in Ferrari colours, but with a contract extension. What's going on in that man's head?
Yeah, think about the contract extension rather than Canada.
Yeah.
I think is number one for him. Canada was a really off weekend for Charles, but he is the best driver in the grid around this circuit. I think his record speaks for itself. Every time he's turned up, he's been super rapid. 3 poles, nearly a 4th last year as well, and bearing in mind that Ferrari didn't win a race all season, this was as close as they got. He just loves it. He's got a natural feel. Obviously, he's got probably an inside track of the circuit, having grown up just down the road, but the way that he drives, it's attacking. He likes a pointy car. It's how you have to drive, sort of living on the edge of things here, and he's always suited it. So the fact that Ferrari are competitive, Charles back into his best race on Ferrari's best race, think about that and dial in, think you're going to win it.
For Lewis, Juan Pablo, how much of a confidence boost will Montreal have been to come from the way he was driving there, the way he was hustling the car, to a track that demands confidence and courage?
So he's in a really good position because he comes from a really solid street course to another. And you got Charles with a new contract, and this is the perfect opportunity to beat Charles and put a lot of pressure in Charles, because Charles, the contract was probably signed before Canada, I would assume. And you have a new contract and you have a bad weekend, then it gets announced. And if Lewis could beat him here, it would be huge. It would be a big blow mentally. And, yes, Charles is really good here, but Lewis also. You can't say Charles is really good, but you got to remember, you got a 7-time world champion next to it.
Ruth, coming to you for communication. Charles Leclerc saying we have to improve our communication in Montreal, a very frustrated man on the radio. How important is that communication here? We've got 2 extra cars on the grid for qualifying. Traffic is always an issue on this 3.3 kilometres.
Yeah, it is absolutely key. A lot of our normal tools don't work here. GPS, which we use for positioning, doesn't work anywhere near the pit lane. All of our simulation tools, they all break down because they're going so slowly. Communication has cost Ferrari a 1-2 win before. It's also cost other teams. It's not just them. Mercedes, tyres in the garage. This place tests every element of you. But if there's one man that's going to do it, it's got to be Charles Leclerc. I had the honour of being his strategist back in 2018, and he was on it right from the very beginning. And it's the first time I've ever sat next to a prince on a pit wall.
Oh, there you go. And who better to talk us round this track then than Charles himself?
We'd like to take a closer look at Monaco.
Monaco, it's kind of crazy. Every corner is right one after the other, not much time to breathe, and you can feel that inside the car, combined with the adrenaline you get when you are in the car. There's a different energy in itself in Monaco, and being my home race, there's something extra special for me. It makes this weekend definitely the most special day of the calendar. Getting to turn 1, quite bumpy on braking, so it's a very difficult braking point. Important to touch a little bit the curb and get as close as possible on exit to the walls. Then we go up to Casino. It's actually quite blind inside the car because we are so low that we don't get to see the whole corner until we are really in it. And then right-hander straight away feels a bit like a roller coaster. Braking downhill, very easy to lock up the wheel as well. And there's Fairmont, which is the tightest corner of all F1 calendar. Double right before the tunnel. It's very low speed, so the car feels very light there. Very important to get on power early. It's very dark in the tunnel, and the effect when you get out the tunnel, it's super bright straight away, so it takes a bit of time to adapt. But very quickly after you need to brake. Downhill again, and there's a bump, I think, which is not so nice. And then there's the last sector where it's all about trying to clip the wall. not too hard. Tires tends to overheat, so you lose a little bit of grip. It's all about precision. Try and gain the last few thousands, and that's it.
And that's it. He makes it sound so simple, but honestly, we come here every year and you look at that, I cannot believe that we race Formula One machinery around here. And actually, we are on the Red Bull Energy Station as well, which is poised on the marina overlooking the pit lane behind us. So big thanks to Red Bull for providing us with such a brilliant space. Charles Leclerc will be hoping to hit the top step of the podium, once again winning his home race after that victory in 2024. And you can see Max Verstappen is also somewhere on the Red Bull Energy Station with us as well. Let's talk about the track then. Let's talk to a man who has conquered it, pole position and a win. We'll start with the pole position, 2002. What does it take?
You need to push like there's no tomorrow. You can't leave anything on the table. And the biggest thing is how close can you be to the inner walls. The inner wall is what dictates how fast you are through the corner, because that last little bit, if you use 5 centimeters more or 10 in the, like, you can get right against the wall. It means when you exit, you have that extra room. And when you start adding that extra room, it makes a huge difference when you're driving the car. And the hard thing is, like, you kind of aim at pretty much hitting the wall. Like, you aim and you're gonna hit the wall and you wanna go fast enough that you miss it. Because if you don't roll fast enough, the car will turn and run into the wall. So that was kind of the approach I had always in the street course. Aim at it and roll fast enough and hope you don't hit it.
I hope and a prayer. Let's look back at your win, shall we? 2003, pole matters here, but you can do it not from pole, right?
Yeah, I mean, we did it really good. I mean, Ralph was really fast and it became a strategy thing. And to be honest with you, we were really lucky. We were out of oil. When I'm telling you we were out of oil, we were surprised we made it to the end. Like, those engines used to shift at 19.5, 20,000 RPM. We were shifting at 15,000. Like, we had no power. It's like, bub, bub, bub. I was like, come on, please. and it's really stressful because you come out, you come off the corners and you see Raikkonen in the mirror coming and you don't have anything else. So you just hope that, don't make mistakes and that's all you can do. And it was quite stressful, but I mean, it's probably the most special F1 win I have.
Absolutely, what a race to win. Congrats for it.
Thank
Brilliant
you.
stuff. Ruth, close to the wall. We love those graphics, don't we? Too close to the wall, very close to the wall. You're going to be monitoring turn 1 for us, aren't you?
Yeah, turn 1 all weekend. So to win Monaco, and even you overtook, you and Senna in an elite group there, you have to play at the casino. So you can't just take it easy from FP1. If you start too far off, you will never get there by qualifying. See, he's nodding and he's a race winner, so he agrees with me for once. It is down to the millimeters here. It's turn 1, the swimming pool chicane. It is all about building that laps, building that feedback. By the time you get to your pole run, your Q3 run, it is down to a matter of millimeters, 0.9 centimeters. If the Super Bowl is defined by an inch, pole here for the last 3 years has been defined by 1/25 of 1. It is perilous. And we've seen time and time again people not push enough or miss sessions because of setup issues, Mercedes 2017, or go too far the other way. Max Verstappen, that swimming pool chicane a couple of times in FP3. And if you wreck, it's a bit like a casino, you often lose your entire chip of cards because it takes longer to rebuild the car and you might not contest in qualifying at all. But you have to play if you want to come pole.
Yeah, strategy, risk versus reward will be crucial and will be in play right from FP1, so you don't want to miss a session here in Monaco. You mentioned Max Verstappen. He comes off his first podium this season for Red Bull in Montreal last time out. Let's hear from him here in Monaco.
Red Bull got its first F1 podium at Monaco 20 years ago. What chance of a repeat this weekend?
Let's see. I mean, I don't know. It will depend on a lot of things. But I don't know how the car is going to feel, tomorrow. So Monaco can always give you some surprises. But I mean, realistically, from my side, we've been okay in the low speed. But at the same time, here you need to be good on the bumps and the curbs, which is where we're not that great. So yeah, we'll have to see how it will evolve throughout the weekend.
Max Verstappen then off the first podium of the season in Canada. Where are the Red Bull for this weekend, Jolyon? How do you think they'll fare?
I mean, as Max said, they've not classically been good over the bumps and curbs. You need a huge amount of that around this place. But the interesting sort of caveat to that was in between the sprint and the Grand Prix in Canada, Parc Fermé was open. And I know Max was talking about his feet bouncing off the pedals, all the worst things you could imagine coming to a place like this. Well, actually, in Canada qualifying, you got the first sector, which is made up of loads of low-speed chicanes, big bumps over the curbs. They were averagely the fastest team in the first sector. They lost a little bit at the end of the lap and in straight line speed, but again, it sort of gives me encouragement for Red Bull that it might not be as bad as they're letting on if they start with the car in the right place. Of course, they didn't in Montreal. It was too stiff, too difficult to drive. And when you're playing catch-up, it's really difficult around here. But if they've learned from that and they can find some compliance, that'll be the big key for them.
And on a track where a driver makes a difference, you don't want to bet against Max Verstappen, do you? And do you know what? Isaac Hadjar as well was really good around here, qualifying P5 in his rookie season as well. Ruth, you're going to be in the pit lane for us this weekend generally, but you've already been scouting around there. Extra winglets, I'm hearing. Tell us more.
Yeah, so the cars are now built, so which means all the engineers scurry out to look at what everybody else has done in terms of their homework. What's interesting here is we don't have the straight mode. So the actuator, the little valve that pings the wing open, you don't need it. Now, teams have come up with some really cool solutions to add downforce. More downforce you have around here, the faster you go. And actually, the Mercedes, the McLaren have got rid of that actuator completely and added winglets onto it. The Red Bull have added winglets onto there. It is incredibly cool engineering that these regulations allow us to have. I can't wait to have a ganders on them tomorrow because, as you say, I think 4 cars could come out on top here. That Ferrari was devilish in the ride, and I think Red Bull and McLaren and even Mercedes might have a solution to try to close the gaps.
Yeah, and of course no active aero here, no long enough straights are there, and that's why we're seeing these continued developments of the wings and the extra winglets and how these teams are innovating for the 2026 cars. McLaren, their 1,000th race this weekend, their 999th was absolutely one to forget. A nightmare weekend for them. What can they do here? Where do you think they'll end up in the pile, and how competitive can they be?
So I think they're going to be right in the mix. I think this is the problem. I think Mercedes is probably going to be a little harder to drive here. They tend to lock up the tires a lot. We see always in practice more lockups on them than the other top teams. I think Ferrari has probably the best slow speed, but they miss a little bit on the straight. So this is the balance where I think all 4 teams are right there. And I think the drivers, as the power is not such a big deal here, I think the drivers will make a big difference. It's a car with less downforce than last year, a car with more power. You're going to come off the corners a lot stronger. And I think maximizing the braking and maximizing the power down is going to be a big thing. So I think not only that I think McLaren is going to be competitive, but it's a thing where everybody is like, we're going to see a very mixed up grid, I hope.
Lando Norris, of course, won here last year, one of the races that every single driver wants to win. McLaren have unveiled a new livery as well. Aston Martin have as well. Now, Fernando Alonso had a bit of magic here in 2023, almost picking up the win. Can they do anything this weekend after what's been a very difficult start? Let's hear from him.
Fernando, I know the Aston hasn't been the most fun car to drive, but this is Monaco, so how pumped are you about still having the opportunity to drive a Formula 1 car around here?
Yeah, I mean, you never know. Monaco, as you said, is one-off. It's a special place, and maybe the car performance and the engine performance is a little bit less important. So, you know, maybe we are a little bit closer to the target of being in the points one day, and Monaco maybe brings that chance. So, yeah, we will see tomorrow in the practice.
A couple more races have passed since we talked in Miami maybe about your future. With Charles Leclerc kind of talking about his extension, driver markets of the air, have you thought more about what your future might look like in the sport?
Not much progress, to be honest. At the moment, the priority for the team and myself is to fix the situation and to improve the performance. It will come the day that we need to sit together and make the decision, but yeah, it didn't happen yet. It will happen soon.
Okay, so thanks.
Well, Aston Martin, one team that could spring a surprise here, maybe Fernando Alonso, if the driver does indeed make the difference. They are saying as well, telling me earlier on, that the team has a very clear direction in where it is going. They know the upgrades they need to bring. They're bringing them hopefully around the summer break. So that development story will continue through the season. Who else do we feel may spring a surprise? Ruth?
You know, I want to see what the Alpine does, especially Pierre Gasly around this track. He was pretty fast a few seasons ago, and they've got a nice little wing on their end of their actuator too, so I'm going to give them a gold star.
Good stuff.
Yeah, I mean, I think Williams is desperate for a good result. Haas, I think, could be a good track because Haas is in a bit of the same deal as Ferrari. This is a track where the power doesn't make that much difference. They might look a lot better than they've been in the last few weeks, so I think that could be, you know, I think Ollie Behrman could do a really good job here. Ocon needs a good result, so I think I would go with Haas.
Jolyon.
Yeah, a couple of shouts further back. You got Sergio Perez, great form around a street circuit.
Yeah.
Fernando Alonso, two teams that would love a solitary point in a random race. The other driver I'm looking at is Alex Albon. Was really unlucky in Canada. Didn't take part in any of the Friday running really, but had a bit of pace. Williams should be quite strong around here. The weight penalty that they're carrying from just poor development over the winter is not going to be so dramatic. And Albon's been in the top 10 the last 2 years, in qualifying and in the race. So watch out for Alex Albon to add to his points tally.
I love it. Thanks very much, guys. Should we take a look at the schedule then for the Monaco Grand Prix? This is how it shapes up. These are the times you do not want to miss. Here from the streets of Monte Carlo, the beautiful principality that hosts round 6 of the F1 World Championship. So pre-FP1 building up to all the action from 1:10. We'll then have FP2 coming to you at 4:40 here, local time in Monaco. Pre-FP3, join us from 12:10. And then qualifying, and you do not want to miss it. One of the greatest hours in all of sport. Building up to that one from 3:25 on air, a 4 p.m. start for qualifying and all of the reaction straight afterwards as well. And then on to race day, 1:50, start of the pre-race show. A 3 p.m. start for the Monaco Grand Prix. And once again, all your analysis to come in the post-race show straight after the podium. Well, Mercedes may well have an inter-team battle on their hands. Ferrari could well be in with their best chance, dare I say, their only chance of a win all season. Jolyon Palmer's not liking that one.
Bold. That's bold.
I'm asking the question. Who is your money on for this weekend then? Give us your predictions.
Right, I'm saying it's a Ferrari 1-2. Charles Leclerc wins the race, and Lando Norris is on the podium. No Mercedes, top 3.
What happens to the Mercedes then?
They're fine, they're just not quick enough.
Fine. Juan Pablo.
I'm going to go with Lewis. I'm going to go Lewis, Antonelli, and Max. That's my podium.
Oh, Charles.
I'm loving these predictions. And it just shows what an open race this could be.
Yeah, it's just anybody's. And I think Lewis comes and he's a very strong position. I think Antonelli mentally is very strong and he's in a very good place. And I think the people that need the result, like Charles and Russell, the chances of making mistakes are higher because they really need to step up. And when you need to step up is when you need to, when the mistakes are here,
It feels
coming
a big
over.
pressure race for the two Mercedes as well. There is that on a circuit like this.
Oh, it's awesome.
If something goes wrong, we're talking about, Kimi ending in the wall, but if something happens to George, the gap goes to almost an unassailable return now already. So there's a lot of pressure on those two.
It feels so early in the season to already be talking about unassailable leads. It's only round 6, but like I said earlier, it would be one of the greatest comebacks if George was to overturn that 43-point deficit. Ruth, your predictions, please, and a look at the strategy as well for this weekend.
Well, first off, Monaco is all about the drivers.
So Charles is going to finish 1, 2, 3.
Well, Senna didn't win 5 in a row because he was a bad driver. Charles Leclerc didn't park it on pole in 2024 because he was bad. This home hero, my money is on Charles, and I'm not biased at all. Now, moving on to the strategy. What makes this track so interesting is every single rule you play by as a strategist for the whole year, you put them all in a bin, and you do something completely different, and that's because of the track itself. So it doesn't matter if your car doesn't have a lot of power. It doesn't matter if your energy management hasn't been optimized. It doesn't even matter if you're very tough on tires when it gets to the race itself. It's all about playing with the chess pieces you have on track. track, and you can back up people, or you can play these amazing games. We saw it ever since the 2000s with Hakkinen ruining your day. We've seen it with Pierre Gasly ruining my day. I think I ruined your day a couple of times too, because the teams play tactics. With the tyres, you can extend them much, much further, which gives anybody an opportunity, and a very high risk of safety cars, red flags. We're going to see people go to the casino during the race. And qualifying is the highest stakes qualifying day of the entire year. I was saying it's the day as a strategist you can make yourself the most popular or the least popular person of the entire season with your driver, because the timings is going to be critical, and the cut-off in terms of sending the car or not sending the car, saving a set, not saving a set. We haven't had it for the last couple of years because the grid's been too tight. It's back this year, and everyone's got to get it right if they want to have 2 shots at pole. You have to go to the casino here if you want to get pole.
We may well see bigger separation between teammates. There is jeopardy galore. The walls are ever, ever closer, and they will bite. Thank you guys so much for warming up this Monaco Grand Prix weekend. You don't want to miss a second of it here on F1 TV and Apple TV. We will see you tomorrow for free practice 1.
It is a Formula One classic like no other. The glitz, the glamour, they're wonderful, but we're here for the motor race. The Grand Prix is underway. Elbows out. Oh, they contact. Side by side they run. It's all about man and machine, perfect harmony. A special venue, famous for magic moments.
So many famous turns on this racetrack.
Inspiring for over 8 decades. Charles Leclerc wins. Lando will join the legendary winners of this race.